I'm Oklahoma County Assessor Larry Stein. I love Oklahoma and I love the history of Oklahoma. And here's some history from 93 years ago you may not have been aware of about Wild Mary Sudik. About 2,000 feet southeast of Interstate 240 in Bryan on the southern part of the county, just inside of the Oklahoma County line, there's an internationally known oil well you may have never heard of until now. It was a cool morning Tuesday, March 26, 1930. Then a loud rumbling. The ground shook, and as the sound increased, the roughnecks on the drilling rig of the oil well drilled by the Indian Territory Illuminating Oil Company looked at each other, wide-eyed, and they knew something was going to happen, and it was not going to be good. Dropping everything, they fled the drilling deck of the oil well on Vincent and Mary Sudik's dairy farm, and their quick decision probably saved their lives. The crew had underestimated the pressure from the oil and gas that pushed through the drilling mud and blew the top off the well, spewing oil and natural gas 400 feet into the air. The Sudiks were Czech immigrants. They moved to Oklahoma from Nebraska in 1904 to buy their 160-acre dairy farm. They expanded the farm to 2 additional quarter sections, one of which, bought in 1924, was the site of the Wild Oil Well. The Sudiks were visited repeatedly about allowing drilling on their property, and finally, the matriarch of the family, Mary, agreed. The oil company named the well Mary Sudik No. 1, and her name was tied to the blowout, filling the international headlines for 11 days, as Wild Mary Sudik filled the newspaper headlines, daily radio reports, and newsreels in theaters around the country, reporting on the Oklahoma City event. Mary Sudik No. 1 was located in the newly discovered Wilcox Formation and eventually produced 20,000 barrels of oil and 200 million cubic feet of natural gas per day, according to the well completion report. Before the blowout, Mary Sudik No. 1 produced 15,441 barrels of oil in a test run over 13 hours and 15 minutes. After the well went wild, the flow of natural gas from the well changed to oil after about a day. The fountain of oil vaporized in the spring winds and blew as far away as Norman, Oklahoma, about 11 miles to the south, and as far as northwest Oklahoma City. Experts set up a safety zone around the well to prevent fire and stopped airplanes from flying nearby. They feared the heat from the aircraft engines could spark a fire. More than 211,600 barrels of oil were recovered from the nearby ditches and ponds, and more than 800,000 barrels of oil and millions of cubic feet of natural gas were wasted. After 11 days, the blowout of Wild Mary Sudik was brought under control. The well was capped on the 3rd try and caused the development of blowout preventers as standard equipment and more regulations by the state's Corporation Commission. The tamed Mary Sudik No. 1 was the most productive oil well in the world in 1930. Mary Sudik was famous. She was offered roles in a vaudeville tour and a movie. Instead, she and her husband moved into Oklahoma City and lived quietly on the royalties from the 13 wells on their property. Vincent Sudik died in 1940. Mary died in 1942. Her obituary appeared on the front page of the Daily Oklahoman. Their son, Ori, was killed while working on a well in the Moore oil field of Oklahoma in 1945. The story of the Mary Sudik No. 1 oil well finally ended when it was plugged on June 22, 1974 by the operator, Tulsa-based City Service Oil Company. I'm Oklahoma County Assessor Larry Stein. I love Oklahoma and I love the history of Oklahoma. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the history of Oklahoma County and Wild Mary Sudik. If you need to get in touch with me about this issue or any related assessor topic, call me 405-713-1201. Thanks for watching.